British households are being warned to prepare for a tightening squeeze on living standards, as a Guardian analysis shows the Brexit vote's blow to the pound is stoking inflation while pay packets are shrinking in real terms. As Theresa May prepares to trigger Article 50 next week, kicking off the formal process of the UK leaving the EU, the economy continues to defy the doomsayers who predicted a sudden downturn after the referendum. But signs of a slowdown are now emerging as higher prices put pressure on companies and consumers alike. 9 months on from the referendum, The Guardian's monthly tracker of economic news shows inflation is at its highest level for more than 3 years, retail sales have lost momentum and pay growth has slowed significantly despite the lowest unemployment rate for more than a decade. But the housing market appears to have escaped the post-referendum downturn that some commentators were predicting, and though consumer spending slowed at the turn of the year, it recovered somewhat last month. There is also evidence that Britain's trade performance has been boosted by the pound's fall since the referendum, and strong tax receipts have helped improve the state of the public finances. To gauge the impact of the Brexit vote on a monthly basis, The Guardian has chosen 8 economic indicators, along with the value of the pound and the performance of the FTSE. The dashboard for March shows a better than expected performance in 5 of the 8 categories. 2 were worse than expected. Inflation continued to rise and in February jumped higher than economists had forecast. Stock markets have set new record highs, but the pound remains down around 16% against the dollar, with repercussions for an economy heavily reliant on imports. At 2.3% last month, inflation was the highest since September 2013 and above the Bank of England's 2% target. It is expected to rise further this year thanks to higher crude oil prices and because the weaker pound is making imports such as food ingredients and fuel more expensive. The latest official snapshot of living costs showed fuel cost 19% more this February than a year ago. Consumers also had to pay more for many groceries as a long period of food price deflation came to an end. The pound effect on imported food was compounded for some groceries by shortages after bad weather in southern Europe hit crops. The price of an iceberg lettuce, for example, jumped to an average 93p in February from 54p in January as supermarkets imposed restrictions on the number of lettuces per customer. Intensifying fears over household finances and the outlook for consumer spending, wage growth again missed expectations in the latest official update, which covered the 3 months to January. The 2.2% year-on-year rise in average weekly earnings was still ahead of inflation. But for January alone, wage growth slowed dramatically to 1.7%, making it weaker than the main measure of inflation at 1.8% that month. With prices and wages heading in different directions, consumers are set to feel the pinch in 2017, said Blanche Flower, professor of economics at Dartmouth College in the US. It is hard to see much good economic news this month. The Brexit vote is now starting to have major negative consequences, and it is only going to get worse.